This is a fan-generated show. If you would like to support us, please go to jamieglazov.com, and also don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. All your support is greatly appreciated.
Good evening. Welcome to the Glazov Gang. Tonight, what America's children are being taught. What an honor and a privilege to have with us this evening, Tudor Dixon, the CEO of Lumen News. What an honor to have you on the Glazov Gang.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here.
Thank you, Tudor. So look, let's just begin. You're an expert at what's going on with America's children. The leftist brainwashing of America's children. You've stepped in doing a really heroic, noble thing by giving America's children the other side of the story, which the left doesn't want to happen. Let's just begin with Lumen News. What is it all about and why did you start it?
We started it because we thought that we needed to go back. Our millennials right now are interested in going to a socialist society, and we felt that that goes back to what our kids are learning in school. We thought we needed to go back to our middle and high school students and make sure that they had a good foundation in our values and what our country is all about. And so we said, you know, instead of complaining about this because this is, you know, everybody is saying, oh, this is happening and this is wrong. Well, we can do something about it because right now in our schools, we only have CNN and Channel 1, and Channel 1 is the equivalent of MSNBC. And so our kids are only getting that perspective. And we said, well, let's go in with a different perspective and offer our schools a different news source and give them some history along with it and give them educational segments that are going to teach them about their country and teach them about capitalism and teach them why we have that and give them information on our Bill of Rights and our Constitution.
Absolutely, Tudor. Look, my parents were dissidents in the Soviet Union. We escaped that hellhole. You can just imagine what I have to say about the Soviet regime and what it did to the Russian people, what communism did to people worldwide. This is why I do what I do. And in your recent piece, you talk about a recent poll where 58% of millennials would prefer to what? Live under a communist regime? What did that poll say? Yes,
they would prefer socialism, communism, or fascism. And we actually just did a story on a girl at Harvard, Laura Nicolai, who wrote an article for the Harvard Crimson detailing what a communist life is like because her father escaped communist Romania. And, you know, she said, I go to school with these kids and they just don't even understand. Why would you choose an economic system that has killed over 100 million people in the last century? And it is the equivalent of death. And that's what our kids are just not hearing. They're hearing this glamorized view from politicians and news media sources that are going out there and saying we could give everybody everything, and that's just not how socialism works.
Absolutely, Tudor. It's incredible. Well, first of all, maybe just to be expected, but the victory of the left on this level, because they fight culture war 24/7. They've completely brainwashed our youth. Conservatives are on many levels failures at fighting culture war, so thank God for people like you stepping in. But you know, this is a tremendous failure. I remember I was doing my PhD, I was a teaching assistant for a while and just teaching some students. And people coming out of high school, these students in first, second year university, they didn't even know who Stalin was. Talk about this failure a bit, about this ignorance and brainwashing.
Absolutely. Well, our schools, if we talk to teachers, our teachers have come to us and said, this is amazing, this is exactly what we've needed because, you know, our schools are being given funding based on their testing. So they're being tested on language arts and they're being tested on math, and history is falling by the wayside. And so our kids aren't learning the history that we were learning. And even my generation didn't learn the history that my parents were learning because that's just going by the wayside because the funding comes in based on the test scores that have nothing to do with history. And so our kids are not getting that foundation. And the left, you're right, is doing an excellent job of meeting our kids where they are. They go in and they get into their social media and they get into their schools. I mean, they are in where we are not. And this is our opportunity to go in and take that back.
Yeah. Tudor, it's a scary time. You know, the media has always been bad. Recently, you know, I watch a lot of popular culture. I observe the media. And, you know, I just put it on HBO just for an evening. And Tudor, every show, it's not every second sentence, it's every sentence. Every sentence in every show is choreographed leftist propaganda. They're either attacking a white male, or they're attacking the nuclear family, or they're saying something about Trump, or they're propagating communism. It's nonstop now. It's a full-fledged assault in our media in Hollywood, right?
We're promoting a lifestyle for women that is giving away your body. We're promoting getting rid of your children. We're promoting all kinds of things to our youth that's very confusing. Where are American values? What were American values? And that's why we want to bring that to our kids, because right now they're being bombarded with messages that you should be going out at night and drinking and doing whatever you want, and meeting different men, and all of these ideas that lead them to this weird version of feminism that is not really it doesn't do anything for women. A weird version of economic system that they're saying, you should be getting free healthcare, and you should be getting free schooling, and you should be getting all kinds of time off of work, and that can be provided under socialism. And they're not telling them, look at pictures of Venezuela and see what it's like to have no food in your grocery store. So these kids are getting this glamorized view of a life that they would never want.
Tudor, tell us a little bit about yourself. What brought you to this battle? Because it looks like, it's personal for you. What inspired you? What motivated you to get involved and make sure that kids are getting the other side of the story, which they're not?
Yeah, it is personal to me, because I spent 10 years working in a steel foundry, and I worked in manufacturing, and worked with a lot of guys that worked really hard, and family people that had worked there for years. And I saw that those jobs were going by the wayside. People were kind of ignoring those jobs and pushing them to the side and saying that wasn't important. And then I started seeing the younger generation coming in, and they just didn't care. They just didn't want to work hard, and they didn't value things, and they just felt that everything should be handed to them. And then we kept saying, like, there's something not right. This needs to be fixed. And then we went to the Ford's Theater, and we were there standing behind a mother and her probably 12 or 13-year-old son. And, you're walking through there and everything says Lincoln's assassination, and you're in the place it happened. I mean, it is a powerful place to be. And we're standing in front of the gun. I mean, they have these artifacts there. They're standing in front of the gun. And the mother says, this is the gun that he used to shoot the president. And the son looks at her and says, well, did he die? And in that moment, my friend and I looked at each other and said, this is it. We have to have our kids know. Because not every mother can take their son to the Ford's Theater, but we can. We can take them there. We can show them what happened. We can tell them what these great men did for them. And, this was a president who, we were talking about drain the swamp. This is a president who literally came to D.C. when it was a swamp. I mean, it was filled with livestock and underwater. It wasn't a glamorous job, and he gave everything for this country. And these are stories that our kids need to learn and understand where we came from, and why we have free markets, and why we have individual liberty, and why we have the rights that we have. And we're not teaching them that, and our media is definitely not. Our media is trying to take their rights away.
No, absolutely. And now, so Tudor, you've started Lumen Student News, right?
Yes.
How does it work? How are you able to access kids? Tell us how it works.
Okay, so it's a subscription-based service, and you go on the website. You can sign up at lumennews.com. Teachers are signing up for classrooms, and they can get an individual login for each student. So if they have devices in their classroom, or their parents want to be able to watch it at home, they can get individual logins for their students. You can have a classroom subscription. We have a lot of homeschool parents as well. So homeschool parents go on lumennews.com. They get an individual subscription for their family, and they go on and they can watch it on their iPad, or they can watch it on their computer. It's all online, and every day we have 5 minutes of headlines, and we have a 5-minute segment that is different each day. We focus on careers, we focus on America, we focus on newsmakers, we do some fun things, and we're always teaching kids something different. And so far, our teachers have come to us and said, this is amazing, because we're bringing news into the classroom that is not skewed one way. The kids are getting to make their own, they're listening to the facts, and then they're debating in the classroom, which is great, because it's preparing them for college, where they're going to have to debate. And right now we're hearing that our kids that are going to college are afraid to have their own opinion. So they learn when they're in middle and high school that it's okay to have your own opinion, and it's actually valuable and healthy.
Well, this is so fantastic. I mean, you're giving me some optimism here, because look, this is actually impressive that they're even allowing this information into the schools, because I don't think that a lot of the stuff that you want to get across to kids is even allowed in academia today. They would say that that's fascism and white privilege and white supremacy, etc. Are you receiving some pushback, fascistic kind of Antifa moves from the left at all to try to stop you?
We haven't yet, and it's interesting because we thought the same thing. So we thought our program would be something that it would be more of a buy-in from homeschool families and more of a buy-in from private and Christian schools. And our first 3 schools that signed up were public schools. So it's mostly the teachers that are making the decisions on their own. And I think that's kind of, if you're a teacher out there, go to lumennews.com. It's a great resource. Our teachers love it. And they are such awesome teachers. They send us, in typical teacher fashion, they're so involved in their classrooms, and they send us these messages every week saying, this is what our kids did, and they love it, and they're so happy. And if you're a teacher out there and you want to be talking about current events in your classroom and you want to get the history across, go to lumennews.com and sign up. Look at our Facebook page, Lumen Student News.
Fantastic. Before we go, just give us 1 or 2 examples of something that you got across to the kids that obviously is not being taught in our schools, and that CNN and MSNBC would definitely try to squash.
Oh, absolutely. We had a great special this week. It was longer than our typical specials. We usually do 10 minutes. This went closer to 20, but it was a free speech special. It was all about the First Amendment. We went to the First Amendment Center. We went to the museum. We interviewed people there. We talked to a professor at college. We have that open to the public right now. So if you go on and you look at the headlines and you go into the free speech special, you can see the kind of thing we're doing right now. So I encourage everybody to get on the website, check out that special. It tells you all about why we have free speech, what it is, what the value is. It gives you a great rundown of the First Amendment. And we really want kids to understand that hate speech and trying to define speech and take speech away is taking your rights away. There's a reason we have these rights.
Wow, Tudor, thank you so much for what you're doing. My whole life I studied, what the KGB was up to, because we were trying to fight that. And one of the key things that the KGB was focusing in on and continues to focus in on, and all the totalitarian movements, is to go at the youth of America. And you're on the front line fighting back and doing something so beautiful and trying to educate the youth. So thank you so much, Tudor Dixon, for what you're doing.
Well, thank you for having us on. Thank
you, Tudor. And so, everybody, tell me if I'm correct, the audience of the Glazov Gang, you go to Lumen Student News on Facebook and you go to lumennews.com.
Yes, absolutely. Please subscribe.
Fantastic. Tudor, you're doing tremendous work. We hope you'll be back on the Glazov Gang soon.
Absolutely. That would be great.
Thank you so much, Tudor. Thank you for everything that you're doing. And thank you for watching. One more time, go to lumennews.com and get involved. Thank you for watching the Glazov Gang this evening. Good night.